Never, by the way, Russia never would have gone into Ukraine. I had a very strong understanding with Putin that
I cannot but agree with him that if he had been president, then maybe there would not have been the crisis in Ukraine that emerged in 2022.
A sharp critique of Washington's previous policies, coupled with cautious optimism for renewed dialogue, marked Russian President Vladimir Putin's statements on Friday. Speaking during an interview in Moscow, Putin claimed that the Ukraine war might have been averted if Donald Trump had remained in office, signaling Russia's readiness to engage with the new U.S. administration.
Firstly, I would like to say that Russia has never abandoned contacts with the United States administration, and it is not our fault that the previous administration abandoned these contacts. I have always had business relations with the current President of the United States, extremely businesslike but at the same time pragmatic, and a trusting one, I would say. I cannot but agree with him that if he had been president, if he had not had his victory stolen from him in 2020, then maybe there would not have been the crisis in Ukraine that emerged in 2022.
Now serving his second term following a controversial 2024 victory, Trump has repeatedly asserted that the Ukraine war would not have occurred under his leadership.
never, by the way, Russia never would have gone into Ukraine. I had a very strong understanding with Putin that would have never, ever happened. He disrespected Biden. Very simple. He disrespects people. He's smart. He understands. He disrespected Biden. We're talking to Zelensky. We're going to be talking with President Putin very soon. And we'll see how it all happens.
The US president has often claimed he could resolve the Ukraine conflict within a single day. However, his administration has proposed a 100-day time frame for his special envoy, Keith Kellogg, to draft a resolution. This week, Trump added that Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky had shown interest in negotiations, suggesting Russian President Vladimir Putin might also be open to talks. Putin, however, criticized Zelensky for obstructing peace efforts by issuing a decree banning negotiations with Russia.
We see a statement from the current U.S. President Donald Trump that he is ready to work together. We are always open to that. Now, regarding the issue of negotiations, in this sense, we have always said, I want to emphasize this again, we are ready for these negotiations on Ukrainian issues, but there are also issues that require special attention. As you know, the current head of the regime in Kyiv, Volodymyr Zelensky, when he was still a fairly legitimate head of state, issued a decree banning negotiations. How can negotiations be resumed now if they are forbidden? If negotiations begin under the current regulatory framework, they will be, strictly speaking, illegitimate. This means that the results of these negotiations can also be declared illegitimate.
The Russian leader highlighted Ukraine's dependency on foreign aid as a major obstacle to progress toward peace.
The current regime in Kiev is happy to receive hundreds of billions from its sponsors. Pardon the simplicity of expression, as we have a popular saying, they are happy to munch these hundreds of billions at both cheeks. But Ukrainian President Zelensky does not hurry to follow the instructions of his sponsors. And we know that there are such instructions, to cancel the adopted decree banning negotiations. I think that in the end, those who pay the money should still make him do it. And I think he will have to do it. But as long as this decree is not canceled, it is quite difficult to say that these negotiations can be started, and most importantly, finished properly.
Meanwhile, Trump addressed the World Economic Forum in Davos, warning of new sanctions against Moscow. However, Putin dismissed the threat on Friday, questioning its feasibility and potential impact on the U.S. economy.
I doubt that the current President of the United States, Mr. Trump, I repeat, we worked with him during his first term in office, that he would make any decisions, even if we hear about the possibility of additional sanctions against Russia. I doubt that he will make decisions that will harm the American economy itself. He is not only a smart and pragmatic person, and I can hardly imagine that he will make decisions that will harm the American economy itself. Therefore, most likely, it is really better for us to meet based on the realities of today, to calmly discuss all the areas that are of interest to both the United States and Russia. We are ready. But I repeat, this, first of all, of course, depends on the decision and the election of the current American administration.
Despite expressing skepticism about additional sanctions, Putin congratulated Trump on his return to office and reiterated Russia's willingness to cooperate with the new administration. Nevertheless, the path to peace remains fraught with challenges, as disagreements over negotiation terms and broader tensions continue to impede progress. While Trump's pledge to end the war within a day appears ambitious, his administration's efforts to facilitate dialogue between Kyiv and Moscow will be closely monitored. The cautious optimism from both leaders has drawn global attention, as the world waits to see whether their declarations will lead to concrete steps toward resolving the conflict.
But their interactions from the start were tense and awkward. Trump leaned forward in his chair, winking slightly at Putin before gesturing for him to speak first. Putin, for his part, appeared slightly bored at times, avoiding eye contact with Trump, leaning sideways in his chair. His famous slouch appeared in sharp contrast to President Trump's classic power stance, portraying a demeanor that lacked interest. The two exchanged a very